Hey, what's going on YouTube? So I am going to start some commentaries on my Instagram posts because that way I can express my ideas both through the written form as well as through speaking. And for those of you who are interested, you can get some of my thoughts and kind of ideas and just general opinions of and a little bit more insight, behind the scenes insight into some of the things that I write. So if you haven't already, if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and head over to Instagram. That's my handle. And then you'll be able to get both sides, both avenues of what I'm hoping to express. So today I'm going to briefly go over one of my pins, which is a poem by this lady, Shani. I Googled her before, I forgot who she is. But, anyways, I really enjoyed her poem because it really speaks to me, it really speaks to the importance of healthy men. And it's my opinion that in modern Western society, a lot of modern Western societies, there's been a breakdown or um, a forgetting of the importance of healthy men. And we see that with the rise in the modern feminist movement. We see that in the breakdown of the nuclear family, in the increase in single parent households, particularly single mothers, especially in the States with certain demographics. And there's just this general idea that, you know, men are toxic and it's a patriarchy. And for sure, there is some validity to those claims. Men have not always been great, and men have been wounded and have caused a lot of unnecessary hardships on humanity. But I think that we overlook the fact that men have also done a lot of really amazing things, and that men are crucial to functioning of human society, and that it's important to take a more nuanced approach when addressing some of the issues that we may observe in our societies. And so, what you do see is a lot of men who are increasingly perhaps confused. They feel lost. They feel like they're walking on eggshells. They're not sure how to approach life. They're not sure if they are conditioned by the patriarchy, as they're often accused of. They don't know how to deal with their ambition, and they also want to be respectful of women. And so there's just all these different factions, and there's you get the MAGTOWs, and you get um, just a bunch of different factions of men trying to react, and including me, who's just trying to vouch for the fact that we need men and women, that healthy men are important, and that it's okay to express that masculinity in a constructive way. That it's not always you're not automatically destructive or bad for being the way that you are, but it is important to have awareness and reflect and to discover what masculinity means to you, what being a man means to you in the modern world, how you want to structure, your relationships, your family, your career, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's some of the stuff that I enjoy talking about, some of the stuff that I enjoy figuring out on my own. But back to this poem, this is basically about from a woman, supposedly, who shares how much that women desperately miss and need men. And despite the fact that there is, sometimes with more of the radical feminists talking very loudly in the media, or just what we hear, that men are useless or that we don't need men, she's saying that that's often just an overcompensation, that they deeply really need and want men to show up in a certain way, but maybe these women are wounded, maybe they didn't have great fathers, maybe certain things happened to them where they develop these more extreme ideas. But at our core, men and women deeply want and need each other. And so in this healing work, you often see a greater percentage of women, just from my personal observation and maybe implied in this poem. Why that is, I don't exactly know. Part of it, it could be some ideas out, just general brainstorming ideas. Women perhaps are more emotionally aware. The men tend to be have this stigma around being emotionally vulnerable, um, to talk about their feelings, to go to therapy, et cetera, et cetera. Um, Women are more relationship and people focused, whereas men achieve certainty more through action. So more men are out there probably just working, putting their head down, getting things done, and that's how they achieve certainty. That's how they, tend to feel good about themselves. Whereas, in some of these circles of healing work, where it's more people focused, you might see an absence of men. So whereas men are predominantly in the STEM fields, and this has to do with just natural male interests, women are predominantly in what's like the new acronym is HEAL. I don't remember specific everyone, but like health, education, the arts. It's like that you tend to see more women in those fields. That's just a difference in interest that I believe is part of our evolutionarily hardwiring. It's influenced by it, but it's predominantly not uh, a result of social or societal factors. And Jordan Peterson loves to reference Scandinavia as an example of that. And I just really like this poem because it's from a woman who sees men, recognizes our power, our place in society, the value that an integrated, healed, whole, free man is, but how a lot of us are holding ourselves back or feel like we're being held back, through shame, through fear, through addictions. We, a lot of us, including me, are shadows of who we could be. And all she is doing is calling for men to really embrace our masculinity, embrace who we are, take on responsibility, have a mission, go forth and do great things for the world because that's important. She also talks about not enough fathers, as I mentioned before, and in order for this to happen, it needs to come from within men. So, woman, just like a mother, the most well-intentioned mother, sometimes it is difficult for her to relate to a son, and that's why it's important for young men, young males, young boys to have male role models and father figures, which is why there's such a big push for coaches and just male teachers in general who can relate to boys in a way that very much more difficult for mothers to be able to. And so just to call for more male leaders to kind of hold each other accountable and to support each other and encourage each other, to become the men that we are capable of becoming. And I believe the world needs to hear this message. Is the message that I want to share with the work that I do to help men transform a lot of the pain that we might have experienced, a lot of the injustice that we might feel, the rejection, the abandonment, and the humiliation, and to turn that into power, to turn that into love, to turn that into a noble mission, turn that into service and helping others to elevate and to get over these addictions, to get over procrastination, feelings of unworthiness, and to experience just more peace of mind and more inner freedom as a result of embodying our truths that translates to a life of greater external freedom as well. And here, let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, so I do believe that it's important to be supported by other men. A lot of times, men tend to be more alone and lonely. We have a smaller circle, and sometimes men don't have other men to talk to. But it's important, as I mentioned, I was very fortunate to have different coaches and being in different uh, spheres of more masculine energy, whether that was the military, whether that's martial arts. These are some predominantly male enterprises, although not exclusively, but they still have that certain kind of energy that comes with it. And I felt that that was very beneficial for me. And that's something that, I want to create and provide for other men as well. I obviously can't change the world by myself, although it does start with me. And so that's why I'm hoping to bring other men along on this journey, to become leaders, primarily of themselves. But as you develop competency and become a leader of your own life, you're able to lead and inspire and affect those around you. And then as your competency grows, you basically become a light shining from you out into the world. That's what I believe. Let's see. Yeah. And so, we're all here to create a better future, a better world for ourselves and our descendants. Obviously, a lot of people are just trying to survive and get their own life in order, which is totally understandable. And that's obviously, to me, the first step, and to work from there to making a bigger difference and affecting the world collectively. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Um, Again, go ahead and, if you're interested, go to my Instagram, which is at Willis Wong, and I will be continuing to do this in the future. Until next time.